I'll explain myself. I have a 6-year-old now, but when he was 5 and he couldn't read, he got the tablet of his grandfather for only 1 hour to play on there. And a couple of days later I got a call, quite angry, from his grandfather saying like, how come he spent like 40 euros in an hour? And it was all on wordless digital things and he couldn't even read. That's how nowadays people make money with mobile apps. Stealing them from 5-year-olds. And I don't think I want to be a millionaire stealing money from a 5-year-old. Anybody that wants to be that way, I think it would be a lot more noble if we could help a restaurant sell more tables, if we could like even do gossip. Who has never gossiped in their life? That would be a lot more noble to be a millionaire than like stealing from 5-year-olds. Or if we can help people, like give them information, warning them about something, entertaining them, helping them to make a choice. There's 1,000,001 ways we can become a millionaire as long as we have the right idea and we would have the means to do so. Now, let's shift completely. I have 3 APIs here to send an SMS. Which one do you prefer to send SMSs? Hands up who prefers number 1. Hands up who prefers number 2. Okay, and hands up who prefers number 3. Okay, so again, because there were very few hands, there are a lot of people undecided. If you send an SMS, would you prefer number 1, number 2, or number 3? So number 2 was the winner. Well, I'm just going to put brands on it. It's very clear why there are 1.5 million calls made in 2012 by 150,000 developers with Twilio. In 2013, 1.5 converted itself to 4 million. The way the internet works, it's not going to be 8 million next year. It might be 40 million. It's a hockey stick type of model. So that's why the standard nowadays is Twilio. And that's exactly what I discussed before. Twilio should be our model. Now, if you want to use Twilio, you should be able to go to an operator and say, like, I made this application, put it on GitHub or Bitbucket or wherever. Here's the URL. Just deploy it for me. And then it would be deployed in some sandbox where you would be able to test it. If you like Tropo, nothing against Tropo, could be Tropo. WebRTC, also fine. But the common standard APIs, and you would be just passing a URL to the operator. Afterwards, when your application is fine, you would push a button, and you would then have the clock start ticking. If people start using your application, it would go live to everybody. So not only to some early adopters. If people don't use it, it just dies. This is what we are proposing in a way to launch applications in Telecom. A click-through process in which you just give them the URL, they install it for you, you basically try to get people to use it. When they use it, you can start making money. So that you go from star coder to rich coder. And hands up, who would prefer to do that one time for all operators in the world? Or hands up, who would prefer to have a special API for each operator with a different process for each operator? Who prefers alternative 1? Exactly. I'll tell the operators tomorrow. Like, you don't like different APIs because this is a global world. You write it once, have a dashboard, you launch it everywhere. And you provide them with one tiny URL, not 25 things, not a lot of different difficult processes and so on. Now, what do you think about this one? So if you pay Twilio, you pay them normally 1 cent a minute for every call that you make. So let's take that same basis. That's what you pay. But people that would call your number would pay 3 cents. So that there's a profit of 2 cents. What if you could get 70% of those 2 cents? Just like Apple gives 70% of their profit. Would you think that's a fair way of distributing? Who thinks yes? Nobody. Who thinks no? Okay. Like, would you love to get 70% of like the profits? Okay, so what I'm doing here is called lean startup methodology. It's validating my hypothesis. My hypotheses are that developers only want one place to go, that it should be easy as like giving some GitHub credentials to an operator and like, there's my app. It should be beneficial to you, getting 70% of the profit, and it should be fast to develop with Twilio or other type of simple APIs. So with that, if you would have that system, you would then be able to launch an app every day, because making a Twilio app is not that difficult. Now there's one problem that you're going to have, and that's operators would take like months to integrate your app. So launching an app every day for them is virtually impossible at this moment. Now what if I could show you today an open source technology that is already used in IT that we want to present now in Telecom that can take that to seconds? Anybody interested in a demo? Good. So, you can go to jujuubuntu.com, and what you'll see is our latest open source product. It runs on any cloud, both public as well as private. So you can run things on Amazon, on HP Cloud, on Azure. You can have your own private cloud, OpenStack type of thing, but you can also run it on your local machine as well as on a bunch of servers that you have somewhere. So it runs everywhere, not on any specific cloud. And what it does is like, you can deploy things just by, for instance, dragging and dropping. So I'm deploying things at the moment. As long as I can click here. Yep. Okay, sorry. Clicked a little bit too fast. And then this just puts WordPress out. But WordPress needs a database. So now let's go and do MySQL. Okay, let's add MySQL to the list. Okay, so what I'm doing now is deploying MySQL and WordPress. That's not shocking because everybody of you probably can do that with apt-get on any Ubuntu. What I can do now is say build relation, and I connect both of them. This sounds like a very simple thing to do, but what I actually am doing, I'm telling MySQL to tell WordPress where it lives and which user and password to use, and then WordPress can use that to create tables and data so that immediately you can start using WordPress. So integrations are done instantly. Now what if I need to scale? If I want 10 MySQLs in a cluster, this is what I do, and I get immediately 10 MySQLs. So what we're doing is instant deploying, integrating, and scaling with an open source product. Now, Who's familiar with big data solutions, NoSQL? Have you ever tried to install Hadoop? Well, what we can do is do this. Deploy a bundle, and what I just did, give it a second to load. Yep, it's there. I deployed 10 Hive servers, 10 Hadoop servers, 10 HBase servers, 3 Zookeepers, 10 Storms, 10 Redis, 10 MongoDBs, and 10 CouchDBs, and 10 Cassandras. Just showing you that there's 10 of each here. But I didn't only deploy them, I also instantly integrated them all into a central logging system. So they're all being logged. Remember, I just deployed one bundle. And if I now want to have 100 Hadoops, this is what I do. Okay, so this is what we do in IT. Now, how can this be helpful to you in telecom? Let's say I have a performance and fault management system in the operator. Okay, so I deployed some open source software like Nagios and Logtash that does logging and monitoring. And what I can now do, and thank you to that gentleman over there, I have an open source version of Twilio APIs running in a zip servlet container that's automatically integrated into a media server. So if I would be launching this type of stuff in an operator, they would say like, hey, yes, that's good, but you need to integrate in all my services, otherwise it's you cannot do it. And I would just go like, yeah, I can integrate. Boom, one. Another one. This is how you would, in the short future, integrate in a telco environment. Now, I hear you thinking, not everything will be running on Juju. There will be this type of like horrible, difficult to integrate legacy system. Well, the solution there is that you make what's called a proxy for it. To that system, you still keep on talking SS7 or SMPP or any type of like legacy protocol. But to the outside world, you'll talk a very simple protocol. So if you have to send an SMS, SMPP, if for the SMSC, but for the outside world, it would be just like HTTP with like who, to who, from whom, to whom, and the message. And then you would just say, okay, I have the system, now I build a relationship with it, boom, integrate it. Instant integration. This is what we are currently working on. It's already functioning in the open source world for IT. It's now coming to telco. Go to juju.ubuntu.com if you want to play with it. So what we did so far as a summary is we validated that you want to earn 70% of the profit. You want very easy APIs, applications that are delivered very easy to operators, and they should launch the same day. When would we be able to develop this type of solution for telco? Well, we can develop a new version of an operating system every 6 months, including a new version of OpenStack every 6 months. So within a year, we are confident that we can develop a solution that is aimed towards making it easy for you. Not developing, but also launching it. And we want to actually launch it with 10 operators. I don't know if you've seen this summer the Ubuntu Edge phone. So we're the record holder in crowdfunding. And today I want to do something special. I want to do Telecom crowdfunding. I'll tell them tomorrow what the details are, but it's very easy. If there's 10 operators that by December 31st say in a letter of intent, not a big contract or anything, that they want to launch Ubuntu telco apps, and each picks up a tenth of the bill of a small team, which for them is like a fraction of what they spend on the tariff plan promotion or any service promotion. Afterwards, they could be launching hundreds of services without doing promotions. If they do it, we'll make it happen. Now, we need you. Because the way Ubuntu telco apps will be flying is that if they hear from developers, hey, if Ubuntu makes this system, I'll make apps for it. And I'll tell my friends how they can make apps. Because it's going to be really easy to make apps and to launch them in all operators in the world. And I will be making money with it, which is some detail some OTT guys forgot. So please, if you know any operator, tell them about Juju and about Ubuntu telco apps. And this is going to be an open source product. So we also want your input, contribution into making it happen. This is how we've done it in the past with Ubuntu, with OpenStack, and so on. So if you like it, that's our suggestion. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Maarten. Any questions?
Was it useful?
How do you make it so easy?
How do we make it so easy? Well,
Hadoop takes weeks. Hadoop setting up Hadoop first takes weeks. And you did it in a click.
yes. So the secret is, in Juju we have what's called charms. And a charm is written by somebody expert in the software. One time. They tell us how to install it, how to integrate it, how to scale it, how to upgrade it. And they tell us one time. Once that is done, we can do instantly all those things for everybody else. So what we're now doing is we're working together with like the Apache Foundation, the Eclipse Foundation, and other open source groups to actually make perfect charms. We made some first charms that install Hadoop. But we think the Hadoop guys that made the product can do better. And this is an invitation also to Telestacks. We made some first RESTCOM, but I think they can do a lot better than we can. So if you want to have any application readily available, you just have to make a charm once, and everybody else in the world will be instantly able to deploy it, integrate it, and scale it. It takes anywhere between a day and a week to make a charm.
So Maarten, isn't the challenge?
Do we have the
Can you hear me? Or?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. It's just for the video.
Oh,
Do you have a room mic?
I have another one here. Oh, what I forgot in the demo, if I can just like, I have it actually running, so it's not only quick doing stuff, but it's like really running, and you can see it with the IP, and I can actually call into it if the connection wasn't closed at this moment. But okay, yep, go ahead.
So my question is about the challenge of getting operators to move to this type of strategy. So, for instance, using OpenStack, as a way to operate their data centers. So, I mean, how many seconds is that going to take to get them to do that? I mean, it's probably quite a big challenge, right? So that's really, I think this is the way that the operators will go, and we will get to this point. But the challenge is, how do we get them to do their organisational transformation? And have you got any ideas about, have you got any examples of operators who've actually taken this and are operating their own clouds?
So there's double discussion there. First of all, OpenStack. We are doing OpenStack distribution, so are some others. And like, if you have to sell OpenStack to an operator, it's very easy. Like, we do all this innovative stuff that works best on OpenStack, and we're a tenth of the price of VMware. So that normally sells them like innovation, lower price, sells OpenStack. Now, how can we convince them to move to this type of stuff? Well, I have two strategies. Either I work with the digital guys in some operators that are good, and hopefully there's 10 of them, and then we'll show the rest, and then they'll get on board. The other thing is very easy. I go to the Ryanair of operators. I already know who it is, and I'll help them be successful. And then the others will squeeze and come to us crying. There's two ways about it. There's the easy way and there's the other one.
So how far through that process are you?
We have just started.
Yeah, okay. So there's quite little uptake at the moment with this idea.
No, it's presented here for the first time.
Yeah.
But I want to validate with, like, we are a lean startup in our way of executing. So I want to validate that my hypotheses are correct. Because this is a dual-sided thing. If developers are not on board, I'm not going to go to operators. If you guys are saying like, no, I don't want Twilio, I don't want to earn 70% of the profit, I don't want this, and this, we're wasting our time. Because the whole idea is that developers like this make great apps, and we can have at least one millionaire somewhere in 2015 that goes into the glory, like things like Angry Bird or Zynga, and type of thing. But for telco.
And can I add like one or two things? Like, we have telecom operators who are buying OpenStack from us today. So that is happening. That is separate from this. They just want OpenStack for various reasons of their own. They're our #1 customer in OpenStack. So we have relationships with telecom operators around OpenStack already. And Juju doesn't require OpenStack. It could use physical servers. It could use EC2. It could use a variety of different backends. And hopefully, we're talking to VMware, we're talking to others. It won't just be OpenStack that you could use to do this. Certainly you can do it with bare metal today. So it doesn't require telecoms to buy into the OpenStack model specifically.
Cool. Do we have any other questions? Is this, there you go. Do we have any other questions? You're just interested in the crowdsourcing idea, so you're looking for 10 telcos. Roughly what size of investment?
It's $500,000 spread over 2 years, so
$250,000 here. And that would give them what benefit in terms of, what's the payback?
So basically, I'll explain those details tomorrow.
Okay, gotcha. Understood. Cool. So, any other questions? We have one. Just hang a second. Just bring the mic down.
Where are you starting this? I mean, which are you starting here in Southeast Asia? Is that why you're presenting it for the first time, or are you also talking?
There's no telecom application developer summit in Europe or in the US. This is the only one there is at the moment. So this is why we started here.
Okay. You're probably connected to Akshat. They will probably have 10 telcos under their arms. So if you talk to one, chances are they'll probably implement the same or the other. Maybe, but Akshat might be a good target.
Cool. If we don't have any other questions, thank you so much. That was excellent, Maarten.